This report reflects the work done by Group 2 during the Innovation and Value Creation Wheel course. The team addressed the problem of how to guarantee that Nova SBE Library booking system is used. While using the value creation wheel method, the team looked for a wide range of solutions to solve this problem. The report concludes with a proposal for the implementation of the selected solutions. One of the requisites of the value creation wheel is to involve the key decision makers in the process and incorporate stakeholders' inputs in a very dynamic way. In order to do so, we have involved in our study the Nova SBE Library team as the key decision makers of the company and interviewed as critical stakeholders Nova SBE students, student union, as well as marketing and communication department. A special thanks to Professor Luís Filipe Lage and Carlos Reis Marques for the valuable inputs throughout the value creation wheel process. More concretely, Group 2 is made up of 6 students from the Masters in Management program at Nova SBE: Andrea, Antonio, Beatriz, Charlotte, Ekaterina, and Sofia. The key decision makers are composed of Susana Lopes, head librarian, and Chelsea Baxter, UX assistant. Lastly, some stakeholders were involved, such as Luisa Rodrigues, who belongs to the Nova SBE Students' Union, Natasha Delgado, head of Nova SBE Internal Communication, Filipa Luz, director for Nova SBE Brand Communication and Marketing, and Nova SBE students. Imagine you are the head librarian of a library that is more in demand than tickets for Coldplay. 86% of students in your community find it extremely difficult to find a place to study, but you want to provide the best possible service and invest 4,000 euros annually in a booking system that enables you to collect data from your users to better manage space and operations. However, only 3% of available hours are utilized because students do not find it practical. What would you do? Well, we got the answer: the adaptation of a mobile application that incorporates SCADA software, the world's leading space scheduling platform. With actionable insights, it can enable smart space and operational management. To make this happen, what is needed? An investment of 2,500 euros annually, a trial and implementation period of 5 months, and a collaboration from the library, students' clubs, communication and marketing department, and the SCADA service provider support team. The reservation of seats is a common practice in many universities around the world. However, at Nova SBE Library, the measure does not have the desired adherence. The root cause lies in the fact that the current software is perceived by students as impractical. However, the library team needs to collect data from its community in order to improve space and operational management. Therefore, the objective of this report is to solve the problem with the active participation of key stakeholders. To this end, the value creation wheel framework created by Professor Luís Filipe Lage was applied. The value creation wheel is a method for innovation and decision-making that assists key decision-makers and their supporting teams in finding effective and efficient solutions to their challenge while engaging the surrounding internal and external stakeholders. It comprises of 4 distinct frameworks that can be tailored to meet specific needs. However, in this case, the value creation wheel method, Diana, was applied since it is typically used for consulting projects with an estimated duration of 3 full days to 3 months. This is divided into 5 phases, which will be detailed and followed throughout the project. Define, increase, assess, narrow, and act. The result consists of a customized solution based on the involvement of the stakeholders, adoption of SCADA software. In this way, the feasibility of the project was ensured, and its implementation will start in June 2023.
We'll guide you through all the phases of the value creation wheel. Starting with phase 1, in this phase, key decision maker present a diagnostic and define the available resources. So manpower, minute, and money. They present the challenge and establish the expected KPIs. Starting with phase 1, so diagnostic, we start analyzing the internal environment. It is important to clarify that the Geronimo Martins family and Nova University both contribute 50% toward the cost of the library. We then need to define the library vision, mission, and values. Starting with the vision, Nova SBE's library wants to create the best environment and experience for every student. Their mission is to connect the community with the world of knowledge and ideas by providing access to diverse and relevant resources, fostering literacy and promoting lifelong learning. And finally, values include belonging, innovation, sustainability, access, learning, and connection. The challenge our team needs to face is linked to the library booking system. Here's a video demonstration of how the current system works. So the library is currently using the Spring Share booking system. So the system is available online and bookings can be made both using a laptop or a smartphone. However, the mobile version is not agile and thus it's not easy to use it. And this is one of the reasons why students are not using it. The main issue of the system relate to the cancellation of bookings and the fact that there is no section with saved bookings. So once a student makes the booking, she or he needs to re-enter the website and log in again to check the booking or modify it. To understand the opinion of students with the current booking system, we decided to run a survey questioning students about their behaviors and habits. Here are listed the 11 questions we asked. Here are the survey's results, which indicate some discrepancies between students' perception and action. So we will now explain the results. While the 63% of students use the library at least 3 times per week, especially during the exam season, and 40% of them spend also the whole day at the library, students are not using the library booking system to book individual seats in the library, although 86% of them find it very or extremely difficult to find a seat if they don't arrive early. And while 67% of them are aware of the possibility to book individual seats, and 61% of them find the possibility very useful, and the same percentage say they would use the tool if they needed to secure a seat, only 20% of students have ever used the booking system to book an individual seat, even though the 79% said that their enforcement of reservation might have a positive implications for them. As external analysis, we decided to conduct the PESTEL. So starting from the political factors, we identified instability in the Portuguese government, a factor that generates uncertainties regarding the impact on the support and funding provided, consequently including the library's funding. Moving to the economic factors, inflation, which is high, so respectively at 5.4%, increases library materials and resources costs, together with the poor economic condition that can affect the library's budget and resources. Euro's loss value and changes in exchange rates can also affect the library's ability to purchase materials from international suppliers. So, moving to the social aspects, we identified changes in societal attitudes towards a remote system can affect the library's usage and relevance, and technological advancements can change how people access and consume information, which can affect the library's services and resources. Moving to the technological factors, advancement in technology can make some of the library resources obsolete and impact on how the library operates and delivers its services. So, for example, online catalogs, together with cyber threats that can affect the library's security and data management. Now, environmental factors include the growing awareness for energy and resources consumption that reinforces the need to seek and operate environmentally friendly solutions. And paper waste and energy usage are growing concerns in the realm of sustainability. Finally, for the legal aspects, we included data protection and privacy laws that can affect the library's handling of user information and data. Copyright laws and intellectual property rights can impact the library's ability to access and provide the booking system services. We then, after the PESTEL analysis, conducted a SWOT analysis to understand internal threats and weaknesses and external opportunities and threats. The main strength is that Nova Library is one of the biggest in Portugal in terms of budget and resources, and has quiet and multifunctional study spaces. It also has high number of entrances and turnover and academic support. On the other hand, weaknesses include a limited number of spots, a poor communication and marketing strategy, lack of knowledge about the services offered by the library, together with limited data collection and inadequate user interface and experience in the website. Passing now to external opportunities, we have the openness to collaborations and partnership, together with higher engagement on social media. And finally, possible threats include the threat of remote system, a risk of reduced funding or budget constraints. And finally, some of the available resources might become obsolete due to rapid technological advancements. Now, by combining internal strengths and weaknesses with external opportunities and threats, we conducted a TAOS analysis. The combination of strengths and opportunities results in the collaboration with an alumni in order to enhance the services offered and find and collect users' opinions. The combination of threats results in the engagement with the community to solve possible problems. Then, by combining weaknesses and opportunities, we arrived at the creation of a user-friendly mobile app to highlight current services together with a partnership with the student unions and Nova social media accounts to increase visibility and awareness. Finally, the combination of weaknesses and threats led to the possible creation of program of incentives in order to engage students and facilitate data collection. So for example, loyalty programs. So in this case, students could earn points for every visit to the library with rewards for achieving a certain milestone, such as reprinting or borrowing privileges and free buys. So the library could offer free coffee or snacks or tea to students who spend a certain amount of time in the library or borrow a certain number of bookings. The 5Cs analyses allow us to gain a deeper understanding of the market environment by analyzing each of these elements. We can get a comprehensive picture of the market and identify the key opportunities and threats, as well as the strengths and weaknesses. One of the main strengths of the company is that there is no external competition, while one of the main weaknesses is that the library has limited spaces. Customers are internal and external students, and our team needs to find out which are the main needs and wants, both of the library and the students. And as stated before, there is no competition, so this is why the competitor section is empty. Continuing with the 5Cs analysis, passing to collaborators, we include the Geronimo Martins family, which is one of the donor, and the university itself. And possible collaborators include the student representative and the student union, together with the communication team, and cooperation with the facility teams is also crucial. Finally, moving to the last C, we have climate, which includes international environment. Moreover, the value of the library is driven by student expectations. In phase 1B, we're going to define our challenge, which is how to guarantee that the booking system is used. So we have discussed the challenge with Susana Lopez, which is our key decision maker. And as we move forward with our project, it is important to remember that we didn't work alone, and we conducted several meetings and we stayed connected to our stakeholders, including the key decision maker and other partners, to ensure we were creating a solution that met their needs and aligned with their priorities. By engaging with stakeholders throughout the idea generation and solution finding process, we could then build a more effective solution. And we both paid attention to the beneficiary's point of view, and in addition to those of the provider. So after defining the challenge, we developed 4 whys in order to identify the root cause of the problem and find a proper solution for our challenge, which is that students are not using the current library booking system. So the first reason is that students are using a first come, first serve model. And we then asked why, and our answer was that this is due to the fact that the current system is excessively complicated. But why? So this is because there is not available as an app. It requires too many clicks till the reservation is done, and it does not facilitate data savings, so from the user side. So the final cause is that the current system does not integrate these aspects. So these are the main reasons why students are not using the current booking system. And based on the library's mission, vision, and values, we created the following statement of objectives to meet the challenges of increasing the use of the booking system. And we divided the different objectives by category with their respective time frame, each with its own target. So targets are the specific measurable outcomes that we want to achieve within the certain time frame. So starting with the financial objective, we have one, and is to ensure the efficient allocation of funds in the short term. So the target is to measure the funds needed to implement the project. Moving to objectives related to clients, we have customer satisfaction for the short and medium term, so increase the engagement with the customer. And for the medium term, we have student satisfaction with the target to focus group and surveys for reviews, and increase brand awareness in the medium term to achieve an NPS of score. For the internal objectives, we have the collection of data for analysis purposes, which is a long-term objective, and the target is to establish data quality and quantity controls. Then we have the usage of the booking system over time, which of course is long-term. So we want to keep students engaged. And finally, the maintenance and monitoring of the booking system, which is both medium and long-term. And the target is to the periodical maintenance of the platform. Then we have objectives which are related to growth and learning, so are more related with the project we're dealing with. So we have the team satisfaction, which of course is short term, and the target is the full commitment of the group to the key decision maker. We have the implementation of the value creation wheel framework, which is short term as well. Following the framework with regular checkups is our target. And finally, the creation of partnership with Nova Clubs, which is more long-term objective. And the target is to have high engagement with university clubs. We're finally moving to phase 1C, and we're going to discuss the expected KPIs. So here we created KPIs and grouped them in 3 different categories. So we have project output related KPIs, project input related KPIs, and project process related KPIs. So starting with the project input related KPIs, we have the 3 long-term KPIs, which are the increased user satisfaction with access to the seats of the library by 40%. The second one is to ensure that the proposed solution keep the satisfaction and respect students' experience in the library. And finally, we have the increase the collected user data by 30%, either through the booking tool or other proposed solution. Then we have 1 medium-term project output KPI, which is establishing at least 6 partnership with different academic stakeholders to develop, implement, and propose the and promote the proposed solution. So, for example, with the student union, different clubs, or even courses that we have at Nova. And finally, the last KPI is medium term as well, and is to gain insight on acceptance of proposed solution through surveys for a minimum of 100 students, both from bachelor and master, after the implementation of the solution. Moving on to the project input related KPI, we have the full application of the value creation wheel, which is short term, and the other 3 are all 3 short terms and are the key decision makers frequent feedback, the compliance with weekly deliverables, and the bi-monthly exchange with professor and implementation of feedback. Finally, the project process related KPI, which is short term as well, is to gain insights on student behavior and needs through surveys from a minimum of 65 students, both from bachelor and master. So finally, in this phase, there is a list of all stakeholders that were involved during the value creation wheel implementation. We are starting with the head librarian, which is our client and the key decision maker. And this stakeholder has been included during all the 5 phases of the value creation wheel. And the wants and needs related to these stakeholders were to avoid unnecessary spending, to fulfill the needs of Nova students, and to provide a space through the phases. And one stakeholder was to provide information on library needs and fulfill needs of Nova students. Then we had the user experience assistance, and it has been conducted starting from phase 1 till the end of the implementation of the value creation wheel framework. And the wants and needs of the stakeholder was to access to books and materials and the access to space. We also met the marketing and communication team through all the value creation wheel framework implementation. And the wants and needs of these stakeholder was to provide promotion for solution and social media access. And then from phase 1 to phase 3, we contact Nova students, external students, and other visitors. And starting with Nova students, they wanted to have organized and available study spaces together with uncomplicated access to the library, and of course, a safe environment. External students basically have the same needs as Nova students. And finally, other visitors have the same needs as well. We also included the stakeholders, which are the IT department, the sponsors, so of course the Geronimo Martins family, who is funding the library, and the government. But these stakeholders were not addressed, and as it seems unnecessary, or they were not available. I will leave now the floor to Charlotte to discuss phase 2.
Let's go on to phase 2. Phase 2, increase. In this phase, many people, including the value creation wheel team, the stakeholders, and the key decision maker, generate numerous ideas and criteria to solve the challenge. During phase 2, the ideas and criteria should not be evaluated, as there is no such thing as good or bad ideas or criteria, to ensure that as many ideas and criteria can be created as possible. Let's start with phase 2A, ideas. But before we continue to the ideas, let's start with the research. To truly understand the scope, we turn to the available historic data given to us by our key decision maker. The secondary data was based on the data collection of usage of the current booking system. The findings were the following. There was a total of a bit more than 3,000 unique users and close to 14,000 bookings made in 2022. A total of 821,000 hours were available to book, but only 33,000 were actually booked. That's only 4%. Only 3% of the available 687,000 hours for booking seats were taken in. And in comparison, the booking for group rooms were 55% of the available hours for that category. During the months of June, July, and August, there were nearly zero booking for seats, and the most requested month was March. Let's go to the explanations. So first of all, the spike can be explained by the mandatory booking rule during the library reopening in COVID times, and the low can be explained during the summer holiday or summer break. The main takeaway for us from this data is that there was a period of time in which usage increased, and if we understand the reason behind this increase, that could help us with the further idea creation. After having understood the historic data, we turn to the start of the generation of idea. So firstly, as you know, we got started by identifying the challenge, categorizing our stakeholders, having our meeting with our key decision makers, and also deciding on various brainstorming tools. We continue with the data collection by looking firstly at primary data, as we created a survey and sent it to Nova students. We also had some interviews and gained focus groups. Additionally, we also collected primary data with the client through focus groups, and also analyzed additional secondary data provided by the client. Thirdly, where we are now, the idea and filter generation. We decided to group brainstorm and have some brainwriting exercises. We decided to really develop every individual idea of each members. We also decided to merge and filter some ideas in a joint table to be able to maybe have more ideas. And in the end, we grouped the filters into multiple categories based on the stakeholders. After having gone through this process, we ended up with 24 ideas. So this and the following slide are an overview of the ideas we gathered. So first of all, we had the idea for a mobile app or a new entry system. We also thought about restricting access to the university, maybe also having some awareness promotion or partnership programs. Additionally, we thought of maybe having a parking desk. We also thought of having collaboration with Nova SU, having maybe the mandatory booking system, integrating a further virtual view, also integrating a reminder system, or also student feedback system, or also taking into consideration gamifying the whole experience. Additionally, we also thought of using cards for entry, or maybe creating a new entry system with a QR code. We also thought of having course partnerships to really get more ideas flowing. Additionally, we thought of parity access, maybe the introduction of a physical gate, ensuring exclusivity through the booking system, also maybe having a loyalty system. Additionally, maybe upgrading the interface, following also maybe ensuring a library kit in which at the beginning of each semester, the whole booking system was explained. We also thought of giving reservation rewards, having a training initiative, and finally also campaigns. For any further information regarding these ideas, we have detailed descriptions underneath each idea. So now that we talked about the ideas, let's talk about the criteria. So using the same process as aforementioned, we turn to the generation of filters. Here we managed to create 40 filters. The criteria have been divided in 5 different stakeholders' perspective to showcase and take into consideration the flexibility needed by the solution. As the Nova SBE Library is a public library, the team has to take in consideration both Nova students as well as external students and their wants and needs. Additionally, due to the funding of the library coming from the university and private donors, the solution needs to be in line with the directives of the university as well with the governmental view. The library perspective is included to ensure that the key decision maker and their wishes are being respected. So as you can see here, we have the internal users, the external users, and the library. And additionally, we also have the university perspective and the legal and governmental perspective. Let's continue to the purification of concepts, so phase 2C. First of all, as we learned during the Innovation and Value Creation Wheel course, it is necessary to separate divergent thinking from convergent thinking. That means before considering evaluating the ideas and the filters, it is crucial to generate lots of options. However, it is imperative that these ideas and filters are clear to our decision maker. Having said that, it is presented now the poker method, a tool developed by the Value Creation Wheel team to refine ideas and filter and support decision-making processes. It consists of grouping each idea or filter in 4 categories. First of all, keep, which ensures that you take the idea or filter as a potential solution or a criteria. Second of all, kill, which means that you exclude the idea and potential solution for the criteria. Third of all, review, which ensures that you redefine and improve on the generated idea or criteria. And fourth and finally, multiply, developing the ideas and filters and taking them to the next step, increasing their potential and effect. It will be used in detail in the following, phase 3, which means access for decision-making purposes. However, each member of the team applied the method already for purification of ideas and filters. That step was also done to ensure that the key decision maker would be able to fully understand each of the proposed solutions and criteria without further explanation. Let's continue to phase 3. In phase 3, assess, the key decision maker selects the best ideas and best criteria to solve the challenge. Then they establish a ranking for the criteria that are compulsory. Weights are then given to the optional criteria, and the stakeholders might also be invited for further discussions. In our case, we had multiple focus groups, not only with our key decision makers, but also with the communication and marketing team. So let's start with phase 3A, selecting the ideas. After gathering the 24 ideas, the poker method was applied in collaboration with our key decision maker, Susana Lopez. As a complement, we also had the participation of the Nova SBE Marketing Communication Department. During this meeting, we guided the key decision maker and stakeholders through a facilitated version of the Value Creation Wheel to ensure the correct utilization of the poker method. Additionally, we ensured that a key decision maker could have sufficient time to think over her decision by sending her an Excel with the relevant choices to be made and asking her to write her decision down. This ensured an efficient communication flow and minimized misunderstandings. After the application of the poker method, the following ideas survived the purification stage. So as you can see, the mobile app is still here, as well as the new entry system. Additionally, we also included the security increase, the awareness promotion, and the partnership program, as well as the loyalty system. The Nova SU collaboration, the mandatory booking, and the interface upgrade are still there. And finally, the reminder system, the feedback system, and the training initiative survived the stage. Let's continue to phase 3B, select criteria. With the ideas now having been worked through, we move on to the filters to truly choose the relevant criteria we require to ensure that the value creation wheel process is applied correctly. To achieve this, we applied the aforementioned poker method to the 36 filters that were brainstormed. Through this application, again, we involved the key decision maker, Susana Lopez, while walking her through her filters and utilization of the poker method. After having applied the poker method, 3 filters were killed, 29 were kept, and 2 filters respectively were chosen to be multiplied and reviewed. Their overview is showcased on the following slide. With the overview of the stage of the filters, the killed filters were mainly discarded due to complications with being able to ensure certain IT aspects, such as compatibility and additional support. However, this will be discussed in further slides. Additionally, regarding the reviewed and multiplied criteria, we decided to expand on the user experience and benefits by exactly defining what we wanted these aspects to be. These will be mentioned also in the following slide. Let's continue. The current slide showcases the kept filters subdivided by stakeholder perspective. Here we can see how the number of filters per perspective is relatively equally distributed, ensuring that all the perspectives we deem as important are taken into consideration in the upcoming VCA funnel. As you can see, again, the aforementioned perspectives already presented in phase 2 are here again with the internal user, the external users, the library, the university, and the legal governmental perspective. To further elaborate on the in total 4 filters which were chosen to either be reviewed or multiplied, we present them in the current slide. So firstly, while looking at the filters to be multiplied, they're both taken from the internal user perspective. If we look at the user satisfaction benefit, we elaborated on it, saying that what we mean with satisfaction benefit is a ease of use and the practical advantages. So we want to maximize benefits. And when we look at the user experience, we want to define the user experience as an easy log and then sign up and an undisturbed stay in the library. So for example, if we apply it to an idea such as, let's say, the security increase, this would not entail a minimally disruptive environment. Additionally, if we look at the filters to review, again, they're taken from the perspective of internal users. And firstly, we have the openness to technological system. And here we changed it to the propensity of students to adopt technological options. So for example, students are more likely to adopt something that is in the App Store than if they have to actually download it from a foreign website. And additionally, we have also the system accessibility, and here we rewrote it and reviewed it to mean that a system accessibility filter for us means it has to be easy, transversal, and practical. Regarding continuing, the following 3 criteria were killed due to differing reasons. Firstly, in the perspective of the external user, we have the filter coexistence with settings and additional apps in the system. However, this was killed due to the amount of apps and platforms used by Nova, and the coexistence would prove to be rather detrimental for us to find a compatible solution. Secondly, we have the university perspective, and here we killed the availability of IT support to students, as it needs to be discussed with the IT department, and we cannot ensure like any, let's say, solution would have this support by IT, since the university has to decide on the budget and funding for this. And thirdly, we have the governmental perspective, which entailed the no need for additional data agreements. We decided to kill this as most digital solutions require data agreement, and also due to the importance of Nova SBE and cybersecurity, we thought that a data agreement would definitely be mandatory for Nova to move on with any digital solution. Let's continue to phase 3C, rank and weight criteria. Once we have purified the filters, we need to ensure that we qualify the most important ones in must-haves and nice-to-haves. The subdivision as compulsory and optional filters is meant to help us identify the necessary ones needed for us to achieve our goals. After weight setting and collaboration with our key decision maker, we decided to have 5 compulsory filters and 3 optional ones. Firstly, on this slide, we have the must-have filters. We decided that the most important one, so ranked 1, is that the key decision maker has the authority to implement the solution, as if we had a solution that the key decision maker was not able to implement, it would pretty much go against the goal of this whole exercise. Second of all, we decided for user satisfaction, benefits, and experience, as if we go back to the 5 whys, or in our case, the 4 whys, we noticed that it is important for students to have a benefit while using the system or solution we pretty much find, or else there is no incentive for them to pretty much use it. Again, the user experience is the unique selling point of the Nova SBE library and is very important also for our key decision maker. Thirdly, we want to have as little as a filter implication for potential restrictions of external users. We need to remember that Nova SBE's library is a public library, so we need to minimize this. Fourth, on the ranking is the implementation cost and monetary implication, as the library has a strict budget, and we want, again, in collaboration with the first ranked filter, we want to have a solution that is feasible regarding the allocated budget to ensure that it's also going to be introduced. And fifth, we want to have as a filter the enabled data collection. So this was one of the most emphasized requests by our key decision makers, and it showcases that the solution we have is able to record how many bookings are going to be done and also other aspects. Regarding the nice-to-have filters, here we have 3 that we chose. First of all, propensity for user engagement. So we want again, in collaboration also with the must-have filters, we want user engagement to be as high as possible. This was also taken into consideration while having focus groups with our key decision makers. Secondly, time consumption, as Nova SBE departments are very busy. We want a solution that is, let's say, autonomous and doesn't need constant support by different members of staff. And thirdly, we want it to be cost effective, as we want to have a financially sustainable solution which pretty much fits on the budget long term, and also is the best, let's say, bang for their buck in a way that we are, for the money we're spending, we are getting the best possible solution out there. Now that we've discussed phase 2 and 3, I would like to give the word to my colleague that will introduce phase 4.
Narrow, phase 4. In this phase, we selected the ideas to go through the ranked filters and through the weighted optional filters until finding the final solutions. They will then be conceptualized and/or prototyped. Stakeholders and key decision makers have all been involved in the analysis and discussions of every step. Firstly, we go to value creation funnel. In this phase, we weighted criteria to apply the filters to our retained ideas, which produced a single exhaustive final solution. We created a value creation funnel by applying the selected filters to the ideas we decided to keep. The procedure resulted in the creation of a booking app as our final solution to simplify the use of the booking system. These are the filters we chose as a must-have. Key decision maker authority to implement, user satisfaction/experience, restriction of external users, implementation costs, and data collection. Here we can also see some ideas that didn't go through and stopped on that filter. As an example, increased security for enforcement of usage of the booking system didn't go through the first filter because the key decision maker has no authority to implement more security. And as we go forward, we got to each idea that didn't go through each filter, finally going to one idea that was the adoption of a mobile application that gathers all available resources and services. Then we got to the MCDA. After applying the VCF, we applied the multi-criteria decision analysis. Here, we compared the different solutions depending on multiple criteria with different levels of importance. We then assessed and rated the different solutions according to how well they suited the criteria. Finally, the MCDA also led to the adoption of the mobile application. These are the filters we chose as a nice-to-have: propensity for user engagement, time consumption, and cost effectiveness. As we can see, if we go through these three filters of nice-to-have, you have an attractiveness level of 3. And these two ideas we got as an example didn't go through the three filters. As our last one, the adoption of the mobile application, has an attractiveness level of 3 because it's very prompt for user engagement, it's very little of time consumption, and is very cost effective. Now, we're going to take a look at concept and value proposition. Firstly, we got to see the STPs. Looking into segmentation, this will target students from inside and outside Nova University. The segmentation criteria used were behavioral, library utilization, reservation of study spaces, favorite study time of day, and preferred study location inside the library, and technographic, including preferred devices like smartphone, tablets, and laptops. Then we got to targeting. Students who need to effectively manage their time by reserving a spot to study in advance can use the app to meet their needs, and also students who need to work in groups can benefit from the app by making a reservation in advance for a study room. The software also caters to students who prefer using a mobile app over a website and are searching for a convenient and user-friendly way to book a spot. Finally, positioning. We position ourselves with simplicity of use, real-time availability, reminders, and accessibility from anywhere, since these are the distinctive characteristics of the app that set it apart from other booking systems. The software is promoted as a tool that makes scheduling a study area easier, saves times, and guarantees the students have a nice place to study. After finalizing our solution of developing a booking app, we conducted a comparison of various apps types together with our key decision maker to determine which would be the best fit for the original challenge. We evaluated 3 apps: Affluences, SCADA, and Tactic, and one of these would be developed by us as well, using the 3Ms framework, as well as considering the benefits that each app would bring to the library. And for example, as we can see, Affluences, SCADA, and Tactic have a very similar manpower commitment with product manager, business analysts, technical support, marketing specialists, and key decision maker. A similar money commitment ranging from 2,500 to 2,900. A similar minute commitment of 5-month implementation, and they differ for technical benefits and functions, as Affluences have a real-time monitoring of availability, reporting tools to optimize space, and customization. And SCADA has customization, flexibility, convenient price, user-friendly interface, real-time analytics, and reporting tools. And finally, Tactic has a real-time monitoring of availability, real-time analytics, and reporting tools. As for the self-developed app, has a much higher minute commitment, as has a 6 to 12 implementation time, a money commitment of around 65,000 to implement an app, and has a different manpower commitment and technical benefits of customization, integration with existing systems, ownership, and control. Now, to help visualize the difference between the applications, we created a graphical representation. We assigned each application to a score from 1 to 10, with 1 indicating a low score and 10 indicating a high score. These scores were based on how well each application met the filters and were previously identified. And as we can see, SCADA has one of the highest for KDM authority to implement and user experience, and well as a low restriction of external users and time consumption. And that is what we need compared to the others apps. Now, going into prototype. We're going to have a look at our idea and the selected solution, SCADA. So SCADA is a software solution that offers a range of user-friendly and highly adjustable features that have been specially designed to meet the needs of Noble Area students. With SCADA, the university can obtain real-time reports on the usage of their spaces, eliminating the need for extensive research to comprehend how these areas are being utilized. Furthermore, the application's functionality enables users to create precise predictions of future demand and usage for spaces, allowing the library to adjust its strategy in response to user behavior. SCADA is also mobile-friendly and compatible with iOS and Android platforms. The app possesses interactive maps and allows users to view their seat locations and schedule automation, enabling the librarians to set rules for booking times, as for example, specific reasons and times like exam periods. Now we are going to go over the 7 Ps for the marketing. As promotion, we want to promote the app through Nova Club like SU, Nudge Clubs, marketing team, different social medias, and the Nova SBE displays. As for place, the app has a cloud-based system and is accessible from anywhere with internet connection. For physical events, we have user-friendly interface, a real-time analytics, and a mobile app. The process is the implementation, the configuration of the booking rules in app, the promotion, and usage of monitoring. The people, we have the product manager, scattered account manager that is provided by the app, the marketing team, and our key decision maker. And as for price, SCADA has a flexible pricing options different on based of the library needs. It has an annual subscription model based on the feature needs, and it's free for every student user. This all combines into the product, that is the mobile app, real-time analytics, and the online booking and scheduling software with 3D room views. Now we are going to phase 5.
So let's finally get to the last phase, which is phase 5, and it's about acting. So we will have the 3 M's and the business model, we will have test and KPI evaluation, and implementation and control. We will start with the 3 M's and the business model. So looking at the 3 M's and at the manpower aspect, we will have the project lead, which is the library UX assistant. So she will be responsible for the product at its core, and she will get support from the internal stakeholders, who's the KDM, so the head librarian, the Nova SBE, the marketing, brands and communications, and the student union. And also she will be supported by the SCADA account manager, who's of course external, and that person is going to be the technical support for the implementation of the app. When we look at the money, of course, the proposed solution comes with implementation and development costs. So firstly, we would like to mention that SCADA offers a 30-day free trial period, which allows us an experimental phase without the monetary commitment. So if there's no satisfaction during this period, it is still possible to ditch it at no costs and look for a better solution. We can also mention that Nova Library may potentially benefit from cost savings because they are likely to increase their efficiency because of the reduced administrative time from using the app compared to the current system that they still have. We can also say that the implementation costs may vary based on the library's needs and customization options, but the proposal that we got from SCADA is going to be 2,500 euros yearly. And as mentioned again, the implementation phase will be led by the UX assistant. In terms of revenue streams, the goal is to improve the user experience and the streamline operations. And since the library itself is non-profit and the goal is to provide access to information and resources for the benefit of the community, the business plan will not include revenue projections or monetization strategies. Now we look at the minute aspect. So this is our implementation plan, and the goal is to have the final decision done until May. For that, we need the head librarian, so our KDM Susanna, and the challenge here is to get the system decision agreed to by Susanna. For the budget allocation, we would like to have it done until end of June. So here the challenge is to get the allocated budget confirmed by the KDM. And again, we need the head librarian for that. The development phase is going to happen in July and should be finished until the end of July. And the challenge here is the system design, the system customization, and also the system trial with a focus group. For that, we will need the UX assistant, we will need the SCADA account manager, and also the Nova communications and branding team, as well as student volunteers who are happy to try the new system. Then in August, we will do the soft launch, which should be finished until the end of August. And for that, we will face the challenges of the system implementation itself, to raise the awareness of the students, the faculty, and the staff, and also start advertising on physical and digital media at Nova internally, of course. For that, we will need the UX assistant once again, the student union, the Nova pre-experience team, which are the student focus group, and also the communications team. The launch should happen in September, so when there's the new intake for the fall semester. And the main challenge here is going to be the change management and the continued awareness. The required partners for this step will be the UX assistant, the student union, the pre-experience team, and the communications team. And also, we would like to mention that the promotion for this should already begin in July, because this is an ongoing process which will be increased in the first months, so July, August, September, and also the first months after the system has been implemented. But it is still an ongoing process which should be happening as long as the app is around, basically. So the challenge here is the execution of the marketing plan and the required partners at the library, the student union, the marketing and communications team, and Nova SBE itself. So now we will look at the business model. And we will start with the key partners, key activities, and key resources, because this is where the value is created. So as we have already discussed, we need the KDM, which is the head librarian. We will need the SCADA account manager. We will need Nova SBE, the branding, marketing, and communications team, the pre-experience team, academic staff, student clubs, the security and facilities team, and the student volunteers. The key activity that we will have is to provide an app that facilitates bookings through a ready-made system that is optimized for academic libraries. And the key resources that we will use here is, of course, the new booking system, the data from the real-time data for the occupancy, and the communication and notification tools. So our value proposition is that the ready-made app is an easy, accessible, and convenient solution for students and other library users who book seats and rooms while providing the library with user behavior, insights, data, and increased control. And why this brings so much value is because 87% of users prefer apps to the desktop versions. So this is something that is not existent yet at Nova, and this is something that we would like to introduce with our proposed solution. So how are we going to deliver the value? We are going to do that through the customer relationships, the channels, and the customer segments. So it is important that the app appeals to the users through the facilitation and bookings. So this is how the relationship with the customer or the students, in our case, is created in the first place. So another aspect of this are the customer services that are provided by SCADA. And also the library faculty members are going to be responsible to build the customer relationships. The channels that we're going to use is the Nova SBE digital communications channels, the physical displays, and also the student union's social media. The customer segments, well, we cannot really speak about actual customers, but we are targeting Nova students, but also external students, because those are the people that will primarily benefit from the app, as it will facilitate their bookings. The library will also benefit by an increased degree of control and also the collection of data for analysis purposes, which is something that is really important to the library. About the other stakeholders, we are not actively targeting them, but they may still experience a positive spillover effect. So for example, in terms of reputation for Nova, but this is something that we cannot measure, and therefore it is nothing more than potentially a positive side effect. So we are going to capture the value through the cost structure and the revenue streams. So as we mentioned, there's going to be cost of 2,500 euros for the implementation, but besides that, there's not going to be any additional costs. And for the net revenue streams, again, the library is nonprofit, so generating revenue is not part of their business model as an academic service. And since it's something that is going to be provided to students by an academic institution, users are not going to be charged for this. So now coming to the test and KPI evaluation, we will look at the KPIs that we set for ourselves in the beginning and whether we achieve them or not. So the personal KPIs that we had, which we can say we have successfully achieved, is the bi-monthly exchange with the professor and the implementation of his feedback, the compliance with weekly deliverables, the frequent feedback from the KDM, and the full application of the VCW. So we have done all of that. In terms of short-term KPIs, we wanted to gain insights on student behavior from at least 65 students through a survey in phase 1, which is something that we did, and we even exceeded this number by getting results from about 100 students. We were also going to ask about 100 students in phase 4 what they think about the proposed solution, and that is something we did not do because in our opinion, it makes more sense to postpone this until the end of the trial period, or at least the end of the first semester, because that insight is going to be more valuable for us. In terms of medium KPIs, we wanted to establish at least 6 partnerships with different academic stakeholders for implementation and promotion. We did not do this, and the fault here is that the KPI has been formulated very imprecisely in the beginning. So we have improved this KPI, and we'll speak about this a bit later. And for the long-term KPIs, we wanted to increase user satisfaction with access to the seats by 40%, ensure that the proposed solution keeps the satisfaction and respects students' preferences, and increase collected user data by 30%. And since these are long-term KPIs, we cannot say yet whether we have achieved them or not. So implementation and control. This part is mainly about marketing because after the implementation of the system, marketing of the new app will become the most important aspect. The main reason for that is that with each semester, there's going to be new students, so it needs to be communicated clearly and timely that there is this app in order for the app to be used. The main goal here is to make the app an essential tool for daily use, and the awareness should be pursued through different and multiple channels. So one of these channels is digital marketing. For that, we can reach students through Nova newsletters, the student union social media, and announcements on Teams and the website. For the physical marketing, we can use the digital screens, for example, at the Hovione and KPMG, banners, and also non-digital displays such as posters. Then we should also take care of awareness campaigns. So it should be presented to the students during the walking tours in the Welcome Week and be presented as an essential tool from the very beginning. And another thought that we had is to cooperate with the Nudge Club, and their contribution could help us to increase the understanding of student behavior, and they could develop nudges, so basically positive impulses for students to use this app. Now we will look at the adjusted KPIs that we have set for ourselves and for the future. So the personal KPI here is to act as advisors to the UX assistant or KDM if our support is needed. Of course, we will officially not be on the project, but since we have already gained so much knowledge about this, we are happy to support if there's something that we can help with. For the short-term KPIs, this is basically just the steps that we have presented under the minute of the 3 M's. So this is just the different steps that we need to take for the implementation of the system. The medium KPIs are to establish a partnership with the Nudge Club until October, because this is when they usually have their new member intake in the club, and that gives them enough time during the semester to work on the project and develop nudges. We also want to execute the marketing plan through digital and physical promotion in the beginning of August and continue doing so throughout the whole semester. Also to increase student satisfaction by 30%, which we can measure and evaluate through a survey at the end of the fall semester. And also the KDM wants to increase the number of unique users, which are currently at 500. We want to increase them to 800 until the end of semester, and the collected data by 30%. And our long-term objective is to establish the app as an essential Nova tool that each student downloads and uses. So we can finally come to the conclusion. For us, this has been a very exciting project. It has been very long, but we had very good learnings, and it has been really fun to work as a team and cooperate with all of our different stakeholders. So now, of course, we were also very curious what they're saying about our project. So I would just like to read out to you what some of the stakeholders that we asked said about us. So Susanne Lopez, who was our KDM, said that the team helped us gaining new insights on student behavior and attitudes that we were not aware of before. We look forward to try out the new tool and see how it can improve the UX and add to our internal objectives. We will need to see the impact on the booking behavior, but it looks like a significant improvement for students. Then the UX assistant Chelsea Baxter said that the group collaborated positively with our stakeholders, keeping communication effective and consistent. Solution offered is suitable for need, is cost-effective and simple to implement. It also provides long-term aftercare as the product offered comes included with an account manager. Overall, we are very satisfied with the group's work and are thankful for their time. Then Luisa, the president of the student union, says, while we were not actively involved in this project, we are happy to support with the promotion of the new system on our channels if approached by the brands and communications team. Then Filipa, the executive director for brand communications and marketing, says, I would like to acknowledge the fantastic work by the student group. Their collaborative efforts and shown dedication resulted in the high-quality solution they delivered. The proposed app demonstrates their effectiveness as a team, as well as the success of the VCW tool to find applicable management solutions. Of course, we also wanted to know what the students think, so we asked one student from Nova who says, having a working app interface would make the booking process more convenient, especially for group working spaces. The current system is not very friendly to use on the mobile, which most students would prefer. And we also wanted to ask an external student, which is not our main target, but still to present them the idea and to get their opinion as well. And Julie said, I took a look at the new system and it looks like a big improvement compared to the old one. I sometimes study at Nova, but since I'm a Catholic student, I don't use their system. It would be interesting to see if the new app could benefit students outside of Nova too. So now, concluding on this, we would also like to share with you what we have learned as a team. So to start with the KDM involvement, it was really important for us to have every step that we took and every decision that we took approved by the KDM. Firstly, because the input that we got was very valuable, but also because we could have gotten to a dead end if we did not consult the KDM and we proceeded with something that the KDM was not happy with. In terms of adaptability, we realized that the flexibility and agile thinking, which was also enabled through the VCW, really helped us to master unforeseen circumstances. So for example, if a stakeholder was not available, or if an idea which seemed very promising was unexpectedly eliminated through important filters. And we could always go back in the process, and that was made possible through the adaptability of the VCW. In terms of cooperation as a team, the project, of course, is of a very large scope, and we had plenty of tasks, so it was important to have a well-functioning team. And as a team, it was important for us to always discuss when someone did not agree with something, to make decisions unanimously, and that each member presented valuable ideas and considerations. Another thing that we really benefited from is questioning the status quo, especially in the beginning, because we were presented with an initial assumption and data by the KDM. And the fact that we questioned that and wanted to do some more research on it really gave us this in-depth analysis and a better background knowledge, and that led to qualitatively better results. Also, when it comes to the stakeholder perspective, we realized that while one stakeholder might like an idea, it could be opposed by another. So it's really important to consider many perspectives at the same time. And the last one that we learned is that this process of unbiased brainstorming is really, really valuable because it can produce ideas that would usually be eliminated through biases. So in the beginning, we had some silly ideas that were not chosen as the main solution, but like some of them, for example, still contributed to the development of the business model, for example, the marketing plan. So therefore, we would like to thank you for listening, for your attention. It has been a pleasure for us to do this project. And since we are all Nova students, we are really, really looking forward to the implementation of the app. And we are really hoping that this can add value to us students, to the staff, to faculty members, and to any user of the Nova SBE library. Thank you so much, and these are our references.